Hello dear students, welcome back to accountancy class. I am Shweta J from Commerce Department, Gopalswamy PU College, Mysuru. In previous class, we solved problem based on accounting equation. In today's session also, let us solve one more problem based on accounting equation. Here is your example problem. Use accounting equation to show the effect of the following transaction of Royal Traders. Started business with cash rupees 1,20,000, purchased goods for cash rupees 10,000, rent received rupees 5,000, salary outstanding rupees 2,000, prepaid insurance 1,000, commission received in advance rupees 2,000, sale of goods rupees 1,000, paid wages rupees 3,000, goods destroyed by fire rupees 500, cash withdrawn for personal use rupees 20,000. Now let's get started. First write the accounting equation properly. Accounting equation is nothing but assets equals liabilities plus capital. So now what is the first transaction? Business started with cash rupees 1,20,000. This transaction affects cash on the asset side of the equation, and at the same time it also creates capital in the business. So now we have to record the capital amount on the other side of the equation. So under the assets you should write cash rupees 1,20,000. Liabilities, there is no liabilities. Write nil below the liabilities, and the capital amount of the owner is rupees 1,20,000. So now both the side of the equation is tally 1,20,000, 1,20,000. Next, second transaction, purchase goods for cash rupees 10,000. For recording the second transaction, first you should copy the previous transaction. Cash, what is the amount of cash? 1,20,000. So here we purchase goods for rupees 10,000 on cash basis. So this transaction reduces the cash balance by rupees 10,000, which means you have to deduct 10,000 from the cash balance. 10,000 ಅನ್ನು ನೀವು ಕ್ಯಾಶ್ ಬ್ಯಾಲೆನ್ಸ್ ಇಂದ ರೆಡ್ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಾ, ಡಿಡಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಾ. 10,000 minus 10,000, you will get 1,10,000 cash balance. And at the same time, this transaction creates stock by rupees 10,000 on the asset side of the equation. So you should write stock plus 10,000. In this transaction, cash goes out of the business and at the same time stock comes into the business. ನೀವು ಪರ್ಚೇಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀರಾ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದಾಗ ಕ್ಯಾಶು ಬಿಸ್ನೆಸ್ ಇಂದ ಖರ್ಚಾಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ 10,000, ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ಕ್ಯಾಶ್ ಬ್ಯಾಲೆನ್ಸ್ ಇಂದ 10,000 ಅನ್ನ ಮೈನಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. ಹಾಗೇನೆ ಸ್ಟಾಕ್ ಅನ್ನ ನಾವು ಪರ್ಚೇಸ್ ಮಾಡಿ ತಗೊಂಡು ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀವಿ ಅಂದಾಗ ಅಸೆಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಸ್ಟಾಕ್ ಕ್ರಿಯೇಟ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ಆಡ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಹೋಗಬೇಕು. ಸ್ಟಾಕ್ ಆಫ್ rupees 10,000. And on the liability side there is no changes, liabilities will become nil, and on the capital side also there is no changes. Write the same amount, that is rupees 1,20,000. 1,10,000 plus 10,000, 1,20,000. On the other side of the equation also you will get same balance, that is rupees 1,20,000, 1,20,000. Now this accounting equation is correct. When you purchase goods on cash basis, first you should deduct the purchase value from the cash balance and also add the value of stock to the assets. Cash ಇಂದ purchase value minus ಮಾಡಿ, ಹಾಗೆ ಸ್ಟಾಕ್ ಕೂಡ ಬಿಸ್ನೆಸ್ಗೆ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದೆ, ಸೊ ಸ್ಟಾಕ್ ಅನ್ನ ಆಡ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ತೀರಾ. 1,10,000 plus 10,000, 1,20,000. On the other side capital remains same. The next transaction is rent received rupees 5,000. So as usual, for recording the third transaction you should copy the second transaction. Cash plus stock. This transaction, that is rent received, affect the cash balance on the asset side as well as it also affects the capital of the other side of the equation. Cash ಅಲ್ಲಿ affect ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಮತ್ತೆ capital side ಅಲ್ಲಿ affect ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಏನದು capital side ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಗೆ affect ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ, here rent received is treated as income to the business. When business earns income, it must be added to the capital balance. ಯಾವಾಗ business ಗೆ ಇನ್ಕಮ್ ಬರುತ್ತೆ, ಆ ಇನ್ಕಮ್ ಅನ್ನ ಕ್ಯಾಪಿಟಲ್ ಬ್ಯಾಲೆನ್ಸ್ ಗೆ ನೀವು ಆಡ್ ಮಾಡಲೇಬೇಕು. ಸೊ now what is the actual cash balance now? 1,10,000. Copy the cash balance of previous equation, that is 1,10,000. Add amount of rent received 5,000. You will get 1,15,000 plus stock. Copy the value of stock of previous equation, that is 10,000. On the other side, that is liability side, there is no liability, write nil below the liabilities. And what is the capital amount? That is 1,20,000. Add amount of rent received, that is rupees 5,000. You will get 1,25,000. So now add both the assets together, 1,15,000 plus 10,000, 1,25,000. On the other side also, you will get same balance of rupees 1,25,000. So ಹೇಗೆ ಬಂತು 1,25,000 ಇಲ್ಲಿ? Capital balance 1,20,000 plus rent received ಆ 5,000 ಅನ್ನ add ಮಾಡಬೇಕು, 1,25,000. So 1,25,000 on the other side of the equation. So now both the side of the equation gets tallied. So now this accounting equation is correct. The next transaction is salary outstanding rupees 2,000. This transaction affects liability and capital in the accounting equation. So ಈ transaction liability ಮತ್ತು capital ಗೆ ಮಾತ್ರ affect ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, asset side ಏನು affect ಆಗೋದಿಲ್ಲ. So as usual for preparing this equation, you have to copy the previous equation, cash plus stock. What is the actual cash balance now? 1,15,000 plus stock 10,000. Outstanding salary means the amount of salary which is not yet paid to the workers in the current accounting period. So ಇನ್ನು current accounting period ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಸ್ಯಾಲರಿಯನ್ನ ವರ್ಕರ್ಸ್ಗೆ ಪೇ ಮಾಡಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಅದನ್ನ ಔಟ್ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡಿಂಗ್ ಸ್ಯಾಲರಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ. Then it becomes liability to the business. So ಅದು ಬಿಸ್ನೆಸ್ಗೆ liability ಆಗತ್ತೆ. So it affects liability. So what is the amount of outstanding salary? That is rupees 2,000. Right below the liability 2,000 plus capital. What is the actual amount of capital? See the previous equation, that is 1,25,000. So 1,25,000 minus 2,000. So this is nothing but outstanding salary. 1,25,000 minus 2,000 comes to 1,23,000. Outstanding, the amount of outstanding salary must be deducted from the capital balance because it is expenses or losses to the business. So business ge expenses ಅಥವಾ ಲಾಸ್ ಆಯಿತು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಕ್ಯಾಪಿಟಲ್ ಇಂದ ನೀವು ಡಿಡಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. ಸೊ ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ಇಲ್ಲಿ 2,000 ಏನು ಔಟ್ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡಿಂಗ್ ಸ್ಯಾಲರಿ ಇದೆ, ಸೊ ಆ 2,000 ಅನ್ನ ಕ್ಯಾಪಿಟಲ್ ಇಂದ ಮೈನಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದೀವಿ. 1,25,000 minus 2,000, 1,23,000. So now add on the asset side first, 1,15,000 plus 10,000, 1,25,000. On the other side of the equation, 2,000 plus 1,23,000, 1,25,000. So this equation is correct as it is gets tallied. ಸೊ ಎರಡು ಸೈಡು ಕೂಡ ಟ್ಯಾಲಿ ಆಗಿದೆ, ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ಈ ಇಕ್ವೇಶನ್ ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿದೆ. ಸೊ ನೀವೇನು ಮಾಡಬೇಕು, ಔಟ್ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡಿಂಗ್ ಸ್ಯಾಲರಿ ಕೊಟ್ಟಾಗ ಅದನ್ನ ಲಯಬಿಲಿಟಿ ಅಂತ ಟ್ರೀಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಲಯಬಿಲಿಟಿ ಅಂಡರಲ್ಲಿ ರೆಕಾರ್ಡ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಾ. ಹಾಗೇನೆ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಅಟ್ ದ ಸೇಮ್ ಟೈಮ್ ಯು ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ಡಿಡಕ್ಟ್ ದಿ ಅಮೌಂಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಔಟ್ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡಿಂಗ್ ಸ್ಯಾಲರಿ ಫ್ರಮ್ ದಿ ಕ್ಯಾಪಿಟಲ್ ಬ್ಯಾಲೆನ್ಸ್. The next transaction is prepaid insurance of rupees 1,000. Prepaid insurance in the sense the amount of insurance which is paid in advance. advance. Prepaid insurance means the amount of insurance of next year which is paid in the current year. Next year ಗೆ ಪೇ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾಗಿರೋ ಇನ್ಶೂರೆನ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನ ಕರೆಂಟ್ ಇಯರ್ ನಾವು ಪೇ ಮಾಡಿದೀವಿ. ಸೊ ಅದನ್ನ ನಾವೇನ್ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ, ಪ್ರೀಪೇಡ್ ಇನ್ಶೂರೆನ್ಸ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ. And this prepaid insurance transaction affects the cash balance on the asset side of the equation, and at the same time it also affects the capital on the other side of the equation. Now let's see how to record this transaction in the form of accounting equation. So as usual, for recording the fifth transaction, you have to see the previous equation, that is fourth equation, cash and stock. What is the actual cash balance now? 1,15,000. So here this transaction reduces the cash balance by rupees 1,000. 1,000 ಅನ್ನ ನೀವು ಮೈನಸ್ ಮಾಡಿ, ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ಇನ್ಶೂರೆನ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನ ಪೇ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀರಾ. 1,15,000 minus 1,000, 1,14,000 plus what is the stock value? That is rupees 10,000. So now coming to the other side of the equation, so there is a liability, that is 2,000. Plus, so now what is the capital amount? That is 1,23,000. From 1,23,000 you should deduct 1,000 because prepaid insurance is an expenses to the business. That's why you have to deduct 1,000 from the capital balance. 1,23,000 minus 1,000, you will get 1,22,000. So now add both the assets together. 1,14,000 plus 10,000, 1,24,000. On the other side of the equation also add both capital and liabilities. You will get 1,24,000. 2,000 plus 1,22,000 comes to 1,24,000. Now this equation is correct. Prepaid insurance, insurance ಅನ್ನ ಪೇ ಮಾಡಿದಿರಾ, ಕ್ಯಾಶ್ ಇಂದ ಡಿಡಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಾ 1,000 ಅನ್ನ, ಹಾಗೇನೆ ಕ್ಯಾಪಿಟಲ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ 1,000 ಅನ್ನ ಮೈನಸ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. Keep it in your mind, when expenses are loss incurred by the business, then the amount of expenses or loss must be deducted from the capital balance in accounting equation. Accounting equation ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕ್ಯಾಪಿಟಲ್ ಬ್ಯಾಲೆನ್ಸ್ ಇಂದ ನೀವು ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೆನ್ಸಸ್ ಮತ್ತೆ ಲಾಸ್ ಅನ್ನ ನೀವು ಮೈನಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಹೋಗಬೇಕು. On the other hand, if any profit or income earned by the business, it must be added to the capital balance. Profit ಬಂದ್ರೆ ಅಥವಾ ಇನ್ಕಮ್ ಜನರೇಟ್ ಆಗಿದೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಆ ಪ್ರಾಫಿಟ್ ಅಥವಾ ಇನ್ಕಮ್ ಅನ್ನ ಕ್ಯಾಪಿಟಲ್ ಬ್ಯಾಲೆನ್ಸ್ ಗೆ ಆಡ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. The next transaction is commission received in advance rupees 2,000. What is that commission received in advance? It is related to the next accounting year, but it was received in advance, but it was received in the current year. Next year ಅಲ್ಲಿ ರಿಸೀವ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾಗಿರೋದನ್ನ ಕರೆಂಟ್ ಇಯರ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ರಿಸೀವ್ ಮಾಡಿದೀವಿ. So it is considered as liability to the business. So now it is affected on the liability side of the equation, and at the same time it is also added to the cash on the asset side of the equation. For recording the sixth transaction, you have to see the previous equation, that is fifth equation. Cash, what is the actual amount of cash now? 1,14,000 plus stock. So now add commission amount of rupees 2,000. 1,14,000 plus 2,000, 1,16,000. Now what is the stock value? That is rupees 10,000. Now coming to the on the other side of the equation, now liability is created. Already we have liability, that is outstanding salary 2,000 plus one more liability, that is commission received in advance, that is also rupees 2,000. So now the total value of liability is rupees 4,000. And what is the capital balance? That is 1,22,000. So now add both the asset together, you will get 1,26,000 on the asset side, and on the other side 4,000 plus 1,22,000 comes to 1,26,000. So this is how we record this transaction in the form of accounting equation. Commission received in advance ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಕ್ಯಾಶ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಎಫೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ನೀವು ರಿಸೀವ್ ಮಾಡಿಬಿಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೀರಾ, ಕ್ಯಾಶ್ ಬಂದಿದೆ, ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ಕ್ಯಾಶ್ಗೆ ಆ್ಯಡ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಾ. ಹಾಗೆ ಲಯಬಿಲಿಟಿ ಕ್ರಿಯೇಟ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ಲಯಬಿಲಿಟಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ನೀವು ರೆಕಾರ್ಡ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಹೋಗಬೇಕು. The next transaction is sale of goods rupees 1000. This transaction affects cash and stock on the asset side of the equation. Now let's see. First, copy the previous transaction, cash plus stock. What is the actual cash balance now? See the sixth transaction, 1,16,000 plus what is the stock value? That is 10,000. When you sell the goods, it generates income. Income generate agate and that income must be added to the cash balance. You have to add the amount of sale value to the cash balance, that is rupees 1000. So now the actual cash balance is 1,17,000 plus when you sell the goods, it decreases the stock by rupees 1000. ಸ್ಟಾಕ್ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. 10,000 ಸ್ಟಾಕ್ ಇತ್ತು, ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ 1,000 ಸ್ಟಾಕ್ನ ಸೇಲ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೀರಾ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಈಗ ಬಿಸ್ನೆಸ್ಸಲ್ಲಿ ಎಷ್ಟಿರುತ್ತೆ? 9,000 ಸ್ಟಾಕ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್, ವಾಟ್ ಇಸ್ ದಿ ಅಮೌಂಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಲಯಬಿಲಿಟಿ? ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ rupees 4,000. And what is the amount of capital? That is rupees 1,22,000. So now add both the assets together. 1,17,000 plus 9,000, 1,26,000. On the other side of the equation also, you will get same balance, that is 1,26,000. The next transaction is paid wages rupees 3,000. This transaction affects cash on the asset side as well as it affects the capital on the other side of the equation. So for recording a transaction, you should see the seventh transaction, copy the assets. Now what is the cash balance? That is 1,17,000 plus stock 9,000. When you pay wages to the workers, it reduces the cash balance by rupees 3,000. So you have to deduct 3,000 from 1,17,000. You will get 1,14,000 plus 9,000. On the other side, the liability amount is 4,000. As I told you in the beginning, if any expenses incurred by the business, it must be deducted from the capital balance. 1,22,000 minus 3,000 wages paid, you will get 1,19,000. So now add both the assets together. 1,14,000 plus 9,000, you will get 1,23,000. On the other side also 1,23,000. 4,000 plus 1,19,000. ವೇಜಸ್ ಪೇ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀರಾ ಅಂದರೆ ಕ್ಯಾಶಿಂದ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. 1,17,000 ಇಂದ 3,000 ಮೈನಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಾ, 1,14,000 ಪ್ಲಸ್ ದೇರ್ ಇಸ್ ನೋ ಚೇಂಜಸ್ ಇನ್ ಸ್ಟಾಕ್, ಸೊ ಯು ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ರೈಟ್ ದ ಸೇಮ್ ಬ್ಯಾಲೆನ್ಸ್ 9,000. 1,14,000 plus 9,000, 1,23,000. On the other side of the equation, 4,000 plus 1,19,000. How do you get this balance? 1,22,000 minus 3,000 comes to 1,19,000. So now both the side of the equation tally. The next transaction is goods destroyed by fire rupees 500. This transaction affects stock on the asset side and at the same time it affects the capital on the other side of the equation. Goods fire ಇಂದ destroy ಆಗಿದೆ, ಲಾಸ್ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ ಬಿಸ್ನೆಸ್ಗೆ, ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ಕ್ಯಾಪಿಟಲ್ ಇಂದ ಮೈನಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಾ. ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಎಫೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಅಸೆಟ್ ಸೈಡ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಸ್ಟಾಕ್ ಇಂದ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. 9,000 ವರ್ತ್ ಸ್ಟಾಕ್ ಇದೆ ಈಗ ನಮ್ಮ ಹತ್ರ, ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ 500 rupees ವರ್ತ್ ಅಷ್ಟು ಸ್ಟಾಕ್ ಏನಾಗಿದೆ ಡೆಸ್ಟ್ರಾಯ್ ಆಗ್ಬಿಟ್ಟಿದೆ ಫೈರ್ ಇಂದ. ಸೊ ಆ 500 ಅನ್ನ ನೀವು ಮೈನಸ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಸೆಟ್ ಸೈಡ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ. ನಾವು ಲೆಟ್ಸ್ ಸಿ ಹೌ ಟು ರೆಕಾರ್ಡ್ ದಿಸ್ ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸಾಕ್ಷನ್. ಸೊ 9th transaction, for recording this transaction you have to see the previous transaction, cash. What is the actual cash balance now? 1,14,000. What is the stock balance? That is 9,000. So already I told you this transaction affects the stock. You have to deduct stock 500. 9,000 minus 500, 8,500. On the liability side, on the other side What is the amount of liability? 4,000. And what is the actual amount of capital? 1,19,000. Now deduct 500 rupees loss. That is, this loss occurred due to goods destroyed by fire. ಗೂಡ್ಸ್ ಫೈರ್ ಇಂದ ಡೆಸ್ಟ್ರಾಯ್ ಆಗಿ ಲಾಸ್ ಆಗ್ಬಿಟ್ಟಿದೆ. ಆ ಲಾಸ್ ಅನ್ನ ಕ್ಯಾಪಿಟಲ್ ಇಂದ ಮೈನಸ್ ಮಾಡಿ 1,19,000 minus 500, 1,18,500. Now add both the assets together. You will get 1,22,500. On the other side also 1,22,500. The next transaction is cash withdrawn for personal use rupees 20,000. This transaction affects cash on the asset side of the equation and it affects the capital on the other side of the equation. First, let us copy the previous transaction. Cash plus stock. What is the actual cash balance now? 1,14,000. Deduct 20,000 because 20,000 withdrawn from the business for the personal use. 1,14,000 in the 20,000 and minus madi. You will get 94,000 plus what is the stock value? That is 8,500. Now on the other side 4,000 liability. There is no changes in liability. Write the same amount of liability. And next capital. What is the actual amount of capital? 1,18,500. And deduct 20,000 from 1,18,500. You will get 98,500. Capital amount in the ಪರ್ಸನಲ್ ಯೂಸ್ಗೆ ವಿತ್ಡ್ರಾನ್ ಮಾಡಿರೋಂಥ ಅಮೌಂಟನ್ನು ನೀವು ಡಿಡಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಡ್ರಾಯಿಂಗ್ಸ್. ಯು ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ಡಿಡಕ್ಟ್ ದ ಅಮೌಂಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಡ್ರಾಯಿಂಗ್ಸ್ ಫ್ರಮ್ ದಿ ಕ್ಯಾಪಿಟಲ್ ಬ್ಯಾಲೆನ್ಸ್ ಆನ್ ದಿ ಅದರ್ ಸೈಡ್ ಆಫ್ ದಿ ಈಕ್ವೇಷನ್. ಯು ವಿಲ್ ಗೆಟ್ 98,500. 98,500 plus 4,000 you will get 1,02,500. On the asset side 94,000 plus 8,500 comes to 1,02,500. This is how we prepare accounting equation. This is very important problem from your examination point of view. You can expect 6-mark question from this topic. And I conclude this chapter. Thank you.